Today I have another boombox. This is one of these Conions, I think is how it's said. This brand's actually known for making great big boomboxes. A lot of collectors like them. Great big flashy sort of ones, and of course the only one I've found of them so far is this puny little cheap one. Probably about the lowest end sort of stereo boombox you could get, really, so goes to show they didn't just make the big ghetto blaster proper ones, but they made these little ones. Supposedly there's something up with the door on this one. Well, it doesn't open. I think we might have a broken door. Yeah, one end's basically coming out. So it's got more than a little bit of just a little problem with the door, but I guess if that's the case, now this, I don't know why it's come with a Cinex, whatever that is. Got the world's shortest 30cm or something power cord, which is pretty much useless. Oh yeah, we can actually slot this. You can slide this across if you loosen that screw off. I guess it would have the 110 volts is the other half to that, 110, 120 volts. So this was probably made for the worldwide market with a dual input transformer. Oh, it's Conion Boombox. That's right, I think someone did say they had something to do with Onkyo. Kobe, Japan. Whether this was made in Japan, I bet you this one was not made in Japan, but I could be wrong. Oh no, it says made in Japan down there, so I would have sworn this was a Taiwanese one or something otherwise, but I don't know how old this is. Hopefully it has a motor or something in it with a date on it. Volume's turned up to max, of course. Ooh, yeah, I think the volume control's knackered as well. Can't really turn it down. FM, just FM. Is it even stereo? I assume it is, but I don't see a stereo light. I don't see anything. Oh, FM stereo indicators down there. Oh yeah, it's lighting up, believe it or not. Go. Oh, and tuning. It's actually got a tuning indicator. It is lit there. You can barely tell though. I guess if we turn it off, look at the difference. Hardly. It got the weakest LEDs on earth there, so it must be fairly early on, I guess. Got medium wave, short wave 1 and 2.
Scores less than 1% in most polling. It's not that relevant.
Seems to pick up reasonably well.
Ramaswamy, who is a biotech entrepreneur and
sounds fascinating. So it looks like the front unscrews on this one, I'll take it. Yeah, I haven't seen a front unscrewed one for a while. Usually a lot little cheaper boxes do that. I think the Toshiba or something was quite a common model. I think I've got one somewhere actually. God knows where that went, but when I was a kid I actually found one in a rubbish heap somewhere, and it was just a dry joint on the power socket. It was a good little unit, that Toshiba. I had it as a shed radio for years, that one. And then I think I sold it to the local takeaway shop owner for $20 or something to use as a radio in his shop. But yeah, it was quite nice little units, but someone's butchered all these screws, which is going to make life difficult. They've all, or are they fake ones? Oh, maybe they're just fake ones. You never can discount that possibility. They're probably butchered because they're not actually, they're just bits of plastic that someone's poked a screwdriver into at some point thinking they were screws that had to come undone. Looks like all the knobs have to come off. And there's something still holding this, or I better, so there's real screws under here. That's an interesting design. I've seen that a few times where things have had fake screws and people have tried to undo them and made a mess. So it looks like someone's been inside this thing before. But that's a bit sneaky. I guess they just put these other ones there to make them sort of more symmetrical looking. No, there's nothing actually attached to the front besides the tweeters. I hope they got a plug, and they do. Oh yeah, this is the other. Ooh, what do we got here? That's the other. That's the piece of the door that's broken, obviously. Don't know whether that can be repaired. If you've got a good plastic welding glue, you can sometimes repair them reasonably well. Though how long? If someone like thumps them again or something, they'll probably break again. Just want to get the dust out of the speakers. Pretty much your average speaker for one of these things, 8 ohms, 1.6 watts. And yeah, that deck was the other type of very common generic deck, if I'm not mistaken. The one with that bit on. Was there another one with a this? I think this might be the same as the silvers or something. I'll have to dig out. I've got a couple of silvers here somewhere that I did have a look at. Can't remember if I ever did a video on those. I don't think I ever got that far with them. I had a quick look at them, I think, and found one. I think one had a broken button and I pinched out the other one because the other one was not in very good nick. I've definitely seen this mechanism in something recently, the one with a little piece that comes up onto the idler there and lets the idler swing in as it rises. Or swing upwards more, and yeah, that's where the spring is on it. And I think the idler might have been shot in the other one I looked at, the silver or whatever. Not sure if one of them was still good. That might have been why I scrapped one of them, because the idler was shot, but oh well. Oh, we do have put some power onto it, and so we've got Conion Kobe Japan on the corner of the board here. I'll be sticking my fingers in there while I've got the power on, but looks like most of it's at the back, the 240 volt stuff, but not a good idea. Ooh. Well, the tape deck doesn't actually run. It's starting to a bit. Oh, here it goes. I think, was that the belt sticking? I think that belt is shot. Nothing in play. Yeah, it doesn't take much to stop it. I can see the belt is sort of rising up above the pulley through a little hole here. It's quite good in rewind though. Oh, that's just stopped completely now. Something's slipping. No surprises there. Now we've got play up. Sort of. Very, see it keeps stopping. What's stopping? Is it just the belt slipping? Must be. So no great surprises there. I guess I should try actually hearing it play while it does go. It may not go with the tape in, it's the only problem, because that's going to add more tension. Yeah, I don't think it's got enough go to actually pull a tape through. Is the capstan actually running? Oh, here we go. Was. Come on, you can do it. That should pull a tape. Here we go. But I've got no sound. Oh, what am I switched to? I unplugged the tweeters, didn't I? So this should still run. Radio tape. Oh, we're on radio mode maybe, but why? Oh, do we just have no sound because... Wait, is that even the volume? No, I've got the wrong knob. Of course, I should have known that because the volume's awfully noisy. It just came to a screaming halt. That's about all it does, I think. I don't think touching the capstan should make that much noise. We've got a possible earthing issue too. Come on. Yeah, not real great. It just hasn't got any torque to pull anything through. Now, where's that? Let's give these pots a clean, I think. They probably all need one by now. volume control, definitely. Interesting, we've got an electric mic, looks like it's soldered to the board. Instead of being on the front, it's actually sideways on the front, on the circuit board there. So where's the, oh, there's a little mic hole there by the look of it. Probably wouldn't pick up the best, I guess it'll still pick up alright. But not the greatest like that, I wouldn't think. I only got one channel too. There it is. Good, anything above half volume's just distortion. At least on radio. I mean, that FM's probably not the best, but the lights are on here. They're very dim little LEDs there. Almost look like 1970s quality, just very early sort of ones, I'd say. Well, that's the thing. Do we got to get this mech out? Let's see if there's a date on the motor or anything. Oops. Where'd that go? Yeah, that's I thought there was an earth issue. I think that's that's our earth wire there, and it's actually broken off the. That shouldn't have fallen down in there. So there's the earth issue. I thought that was buzzing or clicking too much when I was touching it. Someone's broken the wire off. Or something, maybe when that door broke. I'm just a bit sus because someone's been in here at some stage or tried to get in by the look of it. Doesn't mean they were successful. Let's pull that plug down there. No, it's an EG500AD. No date on those normally, unless this date here, well, this code here means something, but none of those unless it's 1971, which I doubt. Basically impossible. Definitely an 80s boombox. But if nothing else, some of these would be handy for getting spare mechs out of. Geez, there's some dust in that. I'm going to have to take that outside. And does any more of this unplug? Oh, it does. It's just got a cable tie there to stop it coming out. No, we can sneak that off. So I'll take that out and give it a dusting. Okay, I'll just pull this belt off. Just simply pull it off these couple of pulleys and drop it off the motor. And I guess I probably should clean that pulley on the motor at least, because that's pretty dirty by the look of it. Just the usual routine thing you do with tape decks. Now, if I can avoid pulling that off, I will, so I can probably turn the pulley and hold it with a screwdriver and just get the cotton bud in there. I think I have to squeeze it a bit more. It's quite a deep pulley. But if you can avoid taking the motor off, might as well. Some of these decks are good, you can just swap the belts, but there is the hassle of getting the pulley clean, which you should do. I mean, this is only my junk, so there's probably not much point, but you never know what muck is left from that belt being a bit old. It could be getting going a bit oily or something, so you don't want to put anything that's going to make the new belt slip or leave anything in there that will. That's got that pretty good. Capstan we're going to spin around, and the reel should be able to spin around. At least this has got good rubber parts in it, besides that belt being a bit stretched, which is the least of your worries these days. Often those little idle tyres are splitting. I think that one's alright. Seems to be in pretty good nick, because whether you can get them anymore, someone might have something somewhere. Is that button meant to be like that? Jeez, it's shooting up, so that's broken, I'd say. It's not clipping, or is it popped off? Oh no, it's just popped off. Oh, thank God for that, because yeah, those little bits that clip onto the bar there will tend to break. And I guess the other thing we've got to do is clean the heads and stuff, even though the head's actually pretty clean, the race head's clean, and even the capstan's actually surprisingly clean. So someone's either cleaned it or this didn't get much use. A little bit of oxide on the pinch roller. At least the pinch roller's in good nick too, so this one's in pretty good condition as far as all the rubber parts go. So it's obviously been in a Must be something to do with the temperature or moisture levels or something that they're stored in. Because you'll get 2 units of the same age and one will be in terrible condition and all the rubber bits will be shot, and the next one they're like new out of the factory almost. So I think these were some sort of more generic mech. I'll give all these buttons a clean up, probably easier while it's out of the unit. They've got a serious dust issue, but they're going to need a scrub with a toothbrush, I think, because we've got dust down in this little slot. These are quite a horrible design as far as cleaning goes, because they got a little slot on top and then they've got a slot all the way around this raised part. So it's just a dust and finger grease receptacle basically that is very hard to clean out again. But first things first, I better find a belt. See if the old eBay kit's got something. Hopefully there's still a few bits and pieces in here of value, because there's a lot of belts in here. These sort of things are getting there. If I can get them separated. That one's probably about perfect because it's a little bit smaller but not too much smaller. How can I get it back up under there? Go away, bag. Oh, that's actually popping up on its own over the pulley. Quick, get in there. Even if it just pulls over the motor shaft, will do for the moment probably, which it is. Just get the thing roughly in place. Of course you get it on one thing, it pops off the next thing and it's come right off the motor again. Of course, I think we'll have to avoid that other pulley for now. Always the fun is trying to get the thing in place. Got to be very gentle with your pliers if you're going to grab it with pliers. Just sometimes you just got to push something on there like your finger just to hold it on that pulley. I think that's going to be very good, that one. Beautiful. That's the perfect length, I think. So chuck the old one away. Don't want that mixed up with the new ones. That kit has saved me again. I don't know how many tape decks I'll fix with that, but it's been a few now. And where is it? There's a toothbrush around here somewhere. There we go. And some of that spray cleaner stuff. I'll get that to soak in a bit. Try and loosen that muck off a bit, especially if it's greasy at all. I think that's getting down in those slots alright. That pause button's popped off again. You just got to press down a little bit on this deck on the surface and off it comes. That end's coming off now. You just press fit, so not much holding them there. Hopefully we're getting enough bristles down there to clean it, but I reckon it's going to need a few goes to get it perfect. I know what these things are like. Now all the buttons are starting to pop off. Will you stop coming off? What is going on here? Now we've got foam. God, you barely got to touch them. I think they'd be a bit more solid than that. I'm not sure if that's cleaned it or not. It's certainly looking so far like it's better, but you won't know till it's dried. That's always the main test. When it's dry, does it go all white coloured again like the dust or not? They're certainly better than they were. I think all the little slots are clean, at least on the top of them. Anyway, that should do for now. I've got the worst of the dust out of the unit itself. I've got to solder that earth wire back on. What plugged in where? That one went... No, that's not it. Oh, there. Looks like quite a nicely put together little circuit board. Interesting, got all these green coloured electrolytic caps. I don't know who made them, but you don't normally see them in Japanese stuff. Maybe just because this is a different manufacturer to usual. I do like these black connectors are good, nice and easy to use. Can't touch anything without popping buttons off the damn thing. It's starting to get a bit annoying. And just got to get that lever on the record switch. Luckily that's a nice simple one, you can't really go wrong. Oh, were they the... I think there's only 2 screws in this. Were they where that front panel screwed on? I bet they were. So if I screw this little eyelet back on, probably easiest soldered in place. Just have to strip the wire off a bit, no doubt. Now, but of course it wants to turn around to the wrong position. Where'd it go? There's a black wire here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Right under it. Oh, it comes from the head or something. I was expecting it to come up the wiring harness there. It's going to rip off whatever it's connected to. Probably a race head or something. If I'm not careful. Really can't get it. Grip on it to strip it. Snip half the plastic off, that worked. Well, I'm not putting my cutters through the speaker grill. Or speaker cone, I should say. Well, that should solve the issue of me touching it and it making weird noises. It's always a sign of a poor earth or missing earth. Because they always have the metalwork earth somewhere to stop exactly that sort of thing happening. Okay, we should be in business hopefully. I'll plug the power cord in again, turn it on. And I better check it first before I put a tape in. Always test it. Still a bit noisy. Not sure what's making that noise. Something there on that idler assembly. Yes, it doesn't distort on tape. Doesn't sound the best. That's when I recorded the other day on that national boombox. Certainly making a bit of noise. So I'll just tweak the head on this. It looks like they might have. Certainly seems a bit low down on that channel. Really shouldn't use this in a testing situation, but see what a proper tape sounds like. So I've got one channel quite low. I doubt it's the head, but I might even just swap the head wires just to see. Well, it sounds like a bad head, but it doesn't look worn or dirty or anything. But the other option would be bad caps or something in the amp circuit somewhere. But easiest way is just swap the head wires quickly over. Just got to remember to put them back again. And see if the fault changes channels. If not, definitely an amp issue. That channel sounds worse now. Oh no, it's the head. Well, that's different. It does sound like there's a little bit of wow there as well, but yeah, I can't remember having a head do that. Very interesting. But it's definitely down on one channel, and azimuth doesn't fix it. I don't think there's any other mechanical issue that can cause that. So red on top. Only other interesting thing would be to measure the resistance of both sides of the head. It's connected to earth on both sides, isn't it? Yeah, it looks like they're soldered well and truly together. What's that, 192? 177, so there is a difference there. And they should be pretty close, so maybe just one of those heads is a bit higher resistance or something. Let's see. I'm not sure which actual half of it's the good half. Only that there is a bad half. So let's hook the white one up and see. I guess that was the one with the lower resistance. It just sounds like a bad head, but normally it doesn't happen. That's the good one, I think. So we're getting, it basically sounds the same one channel down. This may not be a very good stereo unit by the sound of it, but even with one completely disconnected, but I hit that wire, we're getting a hum through it. What's maybe the weird things you come across, eh? Or is it, let me think, could it be a resistance? No, it can't be, because that wire's not connected. It's not going through both heads via earth or something. Okay, let's hook just the red one up. That should be the bad one. That's certainly some weird stuff. Yeah, that's got absolutely nothing, as you'd expect. You should only have one channel. I don't know why that other one's... But it's definitely shot, because I've tried that, hooking that head to both channels, and one half of it is definitely down on level. Just weird that the other one had a bit of noise coming out of it, almost as much as when the head was connected up. When the other channel was hooked up, so that's a bit weird. So now we've still got a bit of a mechanical noise and a bit of wow. Well, that noise has seemingly gone out of it now, that squealy noise, so maybe it just needed a bit of a run. And I wouldn't be surprised if the motor's the reason for the... I should have really checked the capstan when I had it. But it's most of these motors seem to be getting to the wow stage of things. But it's basically working again. I don't think there's much point wasting any more time on that. It's only going to be a display one anyway, I think. I've got the worst of the dirt, still a little bit in there. Could probably do with a bit more of a scrub, but that's not too bad. Oh, and the door. Whether anything can be done to fix that, pretty unlikely. Look at the muck inside this bit too. Is that just going to come out? We've got this spring holding it basically. Where's that? It just sits under there. But these were common for getting broken, or relatively common. If they get a knock on the side or whatever, it doesn't take much to bust one of these sort of doors. It obviously went there. I could try a bit of araldite or something on it. It might last for a bit. And again, if I'm just going to use it for a display thing, probably not much point worrying about it. It's got some sort of part number there. One thing I will do is give that a clean while I've got it out. I think I might just put that part in a bag or something and sticky tape it in here or something, just to have it if I ever want to fix it. But again, this is not really a box. Even if it was in perfect working order, it's not really a box you want to use. Whoops, there goes the spring, of course. Should have known that wouldn't have been very well attached. Now, where did it go? I know it hit my foot. Where are you, spring? That's the problem with having a messy floor. Oh yeah, of course it went completely backwards from where it hit me. But they always do that. They always end up in a spot completely different to where you think they should have gone. Unless you actually manage to see them. Then they can't escape usually. Brush. But yeah, there's little point, at least it's not the one with the spring on it. Definitely if they got the spring on it, there's very little point in trying to repair it. I wonder if I could just attach that by melting it just to keep it in place. I guess I could try it. It'll probably just fall straight off, and it won't be strong enough to even get it into the, because you've got to bend these usually to get them in, so I don't think we'll bother. How did this go? Something like that with that. Yeah, that wants to open it. And I better clean that front off because it's absolutely filthy. Okay, I've cleaned up the front. I better put that broken door bit in here somewhere. Maybe can I sticky tape it to something? That's probably the ideal thing. Stick it inside the cabinet or on the front somewhere, maybe down the bottom there so it doesn't rattle around. And at least it doesn't get lost. But I don't think we're going to fix it. I doubt I'll even open the door on this thing ever again, but who knows. Someone will one day somewhere, maybe. It won't be in my collection forever. Oh, maybe it'll get chucked out, who knows. Okay, what's going on here? What's not going on? Something in the middle is not fitting in place. I thought it was the headphone socket. Okay, what is being a pain here? Is it that maybe that wire's in the way? Is it as silly as that? It'll be something like that. Something around the headphone socket or something's not. Have I got the board in right? How do you know? Yeah, the socket on the back's in the right spot. Oh, I'm a moron. Didn't put that connector in, so that was handy actually because it was in the way. I've got to plug the tweeters in. I completely forgot I'd unplugged the tweeters this far into the job. Usually when the speakers are in the unit, so are the tweeters. Normally just them attached to the front. Oh, actually I've got to put a couple of screws in under the door, I think. Is that where they were? Rubbish everywhere. Quite a messy job cleaning these things up. Not the happiest little door, but anyway. These things are a bit cleaner than before. Half the dust on this I think's from being lying around here because it's been here quite a while, this one. I actually forgot I had it. I was looking for a JVC one and I found this instead. But I did find the JVC in a different spot. So that might be one of the next videos. Hopefully I want to get rid of some of these boom boxes. I'm not so much get rid of them, but just actually go over them and check them and clean them. Because eventually I'd like to get them on display. But there's even more. Somewhere there's a massive sharp GF555 or something like that under the bench here, but I think that's pretty deeply buried. And it's got some damage anyway, I think, but it would be fun just to have a go at because they're quite an impressive bit of kit. And a couple of these knobs are going to need a clean as well. I don't know if I've ever seen it inside a Sharp 555. Did quite a few of those GF 2000s. Well, what were they? VZ 2000s, I think they were, the ones with a record player in a boombox. I think they were basically little old ladies and stuff bought them to replace their old radiograms. Was more the sort of person, they weren't like a boombox for rappers or anything, I don't think. But they definitely were something people used just as a home stereo, because I guess they were one of a convenient way to get a small footprinted radiogram. And of course the record players and stuff played up in those, because that's what people did use them for that. And so we've got a few of them to repair. I think pretty much all record player issues with belts and new styluses and bits and pieces I remember putting in them. And yeah, they were quite an expensive big unit, so whereas these things were almost, once they're a few years old, almost throwaway, even back in the 80s sort of thing, like that Toshiba one I found in a junk heap with a dodgy solder joints on the power socket was all that was wrong with it, but someone decided it wasn't worth getting it looked at, because I mean it wouldn't have been a very expensive repair even back then, but at least with anyone honest, because not a very long job to basically, same as these, take the front off it, a couple more screws or whatever to get the power unit out, and just solder a few joints and back together in 20 minutes or something. Yeah, it needs a bit of work to get some muck on the top of it. But there we have it. I guess I better give it a quick, even though I don't care much, give it a quick test though. See if it at least powers up and all the rest, which it does. And at least make sure the tape, get the auto open. Nice to have a new belt in, at least that belt shouldn't rot for a long time. Yeah, so if for no other reason, it's worth replacing the belt just to have a bit of fresh rubber in there. But it's kind of a nice little box in its own way. Nothing absolutely amazing. But anyway, thanks for watching.